Hello everyone and welcome to SimpliCode. Today we'll be discussing CSS images and links. So before we start, I hope the screen is clearly visible and the audio is fine. If yes, if you are able to see the screen, then please let me know in the chat section, and if you are facing any issues, then do let me know about that as well so that we can resolve the problem. So let's wait for some more minutes so that some more people can join us. Until then, let me tell you guys that we have regular updates on multiple programming videos here in SimpliCode. So if you're a programmer and if you want to learn something new, then please consider getting subscribed to our YouTube channel and press that bell icon to never miss any updates on programming videos. Great. I think it's time to get started. So any online application needs images to function, although it is generally not advised to use many photographs in a web application. It is crucial to use the images when necessary. So what CSS do is CSS enables us to manage how images are displayed in an online application, or we can say in an online web page. Now in this tutorial, we'll see how we can add an image using CSS and how we can style any image which we have added with the help of HTML. So we'll style how we can style it in our own way to look it more engaging to the user, to make it look more engaging to the user basically. So using borders and margins and certain other CSS properties, we can style an image in CSS comparable to doing so for an element. So it is possible to style an image using a variety of CSS attributes, including border, height, width, and certain other CSS properties as well. So let's move on to the programming part directly and we'll see what we can do. We'll first start this video by adding an image with HTML. Fine. So here you can see we have this HTML file. Basically I'm using the previous HTML file only, it's fonts.html. So what we are going to do is we are going to add an image using HTML. So for that we have a tag which is the img tag. So let's write it over here. Let's put the body tag over here. We are going to write here src. So src means the source from where we are getting the image, right? So in our PC we have this images folder present inside a CSS folder where all our CSS files are stored. So we have this folder inside that particular folder. So we have given here the name of images. Now we have two different images you can see here. Although this time we are only left with two images only, we can add as many images as we want. So basically we are going to use one of them. So let's say we have this image1.png, and let's use another attribute which is the alt attribute, which means alternate. So basically for alternate we are going to write here image. Now close the image tag, save the program, and here you can see the image on the browser. So the image size is quite large. You can see it's very large, right? If I'm using Chrome at 100%, you can see the size of this image. Now what we can do with CSS is we can style this image with CSS. By styling, I mean that we can style the size, we can manage the width, the height, the way it will look. So everything we are going to do with the help of CSS only. So here you can see we have this external style sheet with us. So we have already linked it to our HTML document. Now we'll move to the style sheet, and here what we are going to do is we are going to style a image. So for that what we are going to do is we are going to use the element name only. So we are going to use the image. Basically we are going to write here img, this is the tag name, and now we are going to style it. Let's manage the height and width first. So let's say the height is going to be 100 pixels. Pixels we have already discussed in the previous video what pixels are. So then we'll write over here the width as well. So width is going to be 100 pixels again we are going to write here, because we want this image to be equal from both the sides, right? I mean both height wise and width wise. So let's save it and see the output. Save the program, and here you can see the image looks quite small now. So let's change the size to some extent. We are going to use 200 pixels instead of 100. So here you can see the image is now of 200 pixels as height and as width. Fine. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a border outside of this image. Outside of this image means we are going to put this image in a boxy kind of thing, box kind of thing, right? So for that we can do two different things. We can either use a div tag for, like, we can create a container and then we can style that container in the shape of a rectangle. Then we can add the image inside that particular rectangle. So that process is a little lengthy, I guess. So for now what we are going to do is we are going to write here width, then we are going to write here border. So the border property, we are going to discuss borders in detail in the upcoming videos. So for now you can just write here CSS. See, you can only assume that, basically you can't assume, it is actually CSS has a property named border, which is used to create borders of certain objects, or we can say certain elements, right? So basically what we are doing here is we are adding an image and we want the border around that image. So we can write here border as 1 pixel. This is the density, or we can say the width of a border. We can write here 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 3 pixel, 10 pixel, whatever we want. So let's make it 2 pixels. Then we have the type. Border type is solid. Solid means a complete black line or any colored line. Fine. Then we can write here, let's say we are using any color, black. Fine. Save the program, and here you can see the border. So I guess it's visible, and yeah, it's visible here, right? So here's the border. This is the border around this particular image. If you guys can see here, I have increased the size of our browser. So here's the border around the image. Fine. Okay, let me just put it to 100 again. So now we are done with adding image with HTML. So this is how we can basically add an image. The other things we can do is we can make it transparent. For transparency, we have to write here one more property, which is opacity. Opacity we can define in between 0 to 1. 0 means completely transparent. If we'll write here 0.1, the image is visible up to some extent. If we write here 0.3, the image is visible a bit more now. If we'll write here 0.5, you can see the image is visible. And if we'll write here 7, you can see the image is almost completely visible, right? If we'll write here 1, save it, and here you can see this is the original image. It has no transparency, nothing at all. So this is the original image. So we can also manage if we want a image to be a transparent image or anything sort of that. Now we are done with adding image using HTML. We have added an image using HTML, and we are almost good because we have edited that image, and here you can see we have this image with borders all around it. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to add an image with the help of CSS now. So what we are going to do is we are going to use some break statements over here, and here you can see we have these break statements. Now what we'll do is we'll write over here okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to add an image with the help of CSS. So we are going to create a div element over here, save it, and here you can see nothing happens on the browser because the div element is empty although. So let's style this element now. What we are going to do is we are going to style the div element. So we have to write here div height. We have to mention height is going to be 300 pixels, or we can say just make it 200 again. Let's say 200 pixels. Then we have width as well. Width is again going to be 200 pixels. We are going to use the similar values. So let's write over here border. Border is going to be same, 2 pixel, solid and black. Fine. So here you can see we have again a similar box present here, similar to this one, right? So the boxes are similar. Now what we need to do is we need to add an image inside the box. So what we are going to do is we are going to write here background image. So this is the property to add an image using CSS. So we are going to add a background image for this particular box. So we are going to write here URL, and we have to give the path here again images/image1.png, the same path we have given for the previous image as well. Save it, and here you can see the image. The size of this particular image is quite large. We have to adjust it, right? So we'll do it with the help of CSS now. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to make this picture small enough so that it can fit inside this particular box, right? So for that we have another property. So the property is background size. Background size, the value is going to be content. Save it, and here you can see the moment we will use this property, the background size property, and we use the value as content, so the image will fit inside that particular area, the area defined by the div element. So here you can see this particular image has, what we can say, this particular image is completely fit inside the container, inside our container. So the next thing we again write is, you can see the image is repeating itself, right? Because the image is slightly smaller in size as compared to the box. So let's change it. We have to write here background repeat. This is another property, and we have to write here no repeat. Save it, and here you can see we have only one image now. Now you guys can see the difference between adding an image with HTML and adding an image with CSS. So this image looks a little bit stretched, right? So maybe the image will look good with 150 pixels. Let's try it. Okay, so now you can see still the image looks a little bit stretched according to height, but it's fine, right? Now you guys know how to add an image with the help of HTML and CSS. So this is how we can add an image using CSS. Fine. I hope you guys understood the difference between adding an image in HTML and adding an image with CSS. Fine. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to go through the properties of images. So there are certain properties, right? So here you can see the image here, the images here. So let me do just one thing. We are going to remove this div part, because we are going to use an image we have added in the HTML document. We are not going to use background image as of now, images as of now. So let's just stick with the HTML image one. Now we are going to increase the size of this image back to 250, and here we have to write 250 again. Save it, and here you can see the image is of correct size now. So what we are going to do is we are going to style this image, right? We are going to go through all the properties. Fine. So the first thing we are going to do is we have been through this transparency, right? The opacity property. So here you can see if we have this image, I'll show you again, guys. The first property is opacity. Opacity is used to make the image transparent up to some extent. So we are going to write here 0.5. The image is transparent up to some extent. This is why opacity is used. I have already given you an example of how opacity works. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to use the border radius property. So rounded images. The border radius property sets the radius of the bordered image. It is used to create an image with rounded corners. What we mean by rounded corners? So here you can see this particular image has straight corners, right? So over here you can see it's creating an angle of 90 degree basically, if you guys know maths enough. So yeah, this is not, these are all sharp corners. So the next thing we are going to do here is we are going to write here border radius. So this is the property. Now what we can do is we can give different values to this particular property. So if we are writing here 10 pixels and saving the program, here you can see the border is now a little bit rounded, right? So if you guys can see, if we are writing over here 50 pixels, and now you can see the border is more rounded. And let's do one thing, let's make it circular. Fine. So for that, what we have to do is we have to increase the size of our rounded corners, right? Instead of using pixels, what we can do is we can use percentage. So if we'll write here 50%, 50% of the total borders is going to be rounded now. Save it, and here you can see the image is completely circular. So the border is completely circular, you can see. If you guys are not able to see, let me just increase the size of this image. Save it now, and here you can see the border is completely circular now. So this is how we can use what we can say. This is how we can create rounded images basically, right? So instead of using the one border radius property, the border radius property works on all the four corners on the whole border. What we can do is we can use border properties for particular corners. For like we can write here border top right radius, and let me just show you an example. Back, save it, and here you can see this is a normal image. What we can do is we can write here border radius, okay, border top, and we want to edit the right hand, right, top right corner. So we can write here border top right radius. So we can write here what, 50 pixels, let's say. Save it, and here you can see the image is now rounded from the top right corner. One similar thing we can do is we can make this rounded from this side as well. It means the bottom left. So for that, what we have to write here is border bottom left radius. Fine. So we have to write here left after hyphen radius, and we can do the same here, 50 pixels. Save it, and here you can see now the image looks a little different. So the top right and bottom left corners are rounded and the other two corners are not rounded. Basically they are straight, it means. Fine. So this is how we can create rounded images, and we can style these images with the help of CSS. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to see how to make an image responsive. Responsiveness means it automatically adjusts to the fit on the screen size. It is used to adjust the image to the specified box automatically. So if you are changing the size of your screen, let's say this image is okay, so we can't change the size more than that, I guess. So here you can see this image is not responsive. It's not changing as per the screen size change. So what we can do is we can write here max width. Max width is going to be 100%. I'm not sure if these properties are going to work with this particular image, but let's see. We are going to write here height as auto. Save it, and here you can see. Okay, let me just increase the size of this image a bit. Then we'll see if it works or not. We are going to write a 1500 pixels. 1500 pixels as width as well. Okay, so here you can see the image is now responsive as per a screen size. So you guys are able to see the image is responsive. If we are increasing the size of our browser window, then the image is also increasing, right? The image size is also increasing. And if we are decreasing it, it's working totally fine with that as well. So here you can see, guys, it's working totally fine, and the max width and height properties are also working. So apart from all these properties, there are a certain number of things we can do with images. For now, I guess it's more than enough for you guys to know what we can do with images in CSS. So these are all the properties we were supposed to discuss in this particular topic. Now we are almost done with the images part. Now let's move on to the links part. Similar to images, links also play a very important role on a web page. Now imagine being in a website and you are there without anywhere to go. It means that everything the website has is pushed in a single page. It won't look that good, right? So that's why links are necessary to redirect a user to a different web page. Now the question is, what styling changes we can make to link present on a web page? I hope you guys know what links are and how to add them with the help of HTML. So let's add a link first, then we'll see what we can do or what we can't. So just do one thing. Let me just change the size of this image again back to 100 pixels. Okay, so 100 is quite small. I guess I have to put it as 250 so that if it's there, it should be visible. Save it, and here you can see the images here. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add a link file. Fine. So basically, to add a link, what we need to do is we need to use the anchor tag. The anchor tag is easy to use, right? So we'll write over here inside the HTML document. We are going to use the we are going to use it within the paragraph tag. Fine. If it's fine, if you guys are fine with it, then do let me know in the chat section. So we can write here anything. HTTPS www.google.com, and I don't know if it will work or not. So we'll see what we can do with it. Save it, and I don't think. Okay, wait. So we have to write here Google. Save it, and here you can see it's Google. We don't have to write it here. I have to write it here inside the anchor tag. And we are going to write here is a well-known search engine. Fine. Save it, and here you can see it's written over here, Google is a well-known search engine. So this is how we can include links on a web page. Let me click on this link, and here you can see it's taking us to the Google's homepage, right? Google homepage it is, and the link is working totally fine. So this is how we can add links. Now the question is how we can style the link. Fine, we can either change the font style or color of the link, but what we are going to do here in this particular video is we are going to change the color of a link on certain events. Like if the link is visited, then we'll color it with some color of our own choice. So let's just do it, guys, and you guys will understand. What we have to do here is we have to move to the CSS part, and we have to write here A is the tag, and we have to write here link. If it's a link, then its color should be, let's say, red. Save it. And here you can see the link's color is red. You guys are not able to see it more clearly because this link is already visited, and we can use certain properties. As we have already mentioned, we are going to mention the link styling on certain events, like if the link is visited or if the link is not visited. So this particular link over here is already visited. So if we are going to add an unvisited link, then it will work totally fine. So let's just try if we can do it or not. So we'll write over here href. Okay, so we are going to write here https. Then we have to write here www dot, let's say, youtube.com. Fine. Now we have to write here YouTube. Save it. And here you can see YouTube is in red color because this is an unvisited link till now. Fine. Now we can change the color if a link is visited, then we can change the color for that as well. So we can write here A, and what we want to do is we want to change the color if the link is already visited. So we'll write here visited, and we are going to change the color to what? Let's use aqua, and we are going to use the color name here. Save it, and here you can see Google is now changed to aqua in color because Google is already visited by us, right? Now the third thing we are going to do over here is we are going to write the property for hover effect. So if we are hovering our mouse over any link, then it should change the color. So we can do that as well. Color we are going to write here font color. Okay, so guys, I'm not sure which color we have to use, so I'll write here coral. Save it, and now hover your mouse over these links, and here you can see the color changing. You can see the moment I take my mouse cursor over Google, the color is changed, right? So it's working totally fine. And the last thing we have to do is we have to change the color of an active link as well. So we'll write over here A, and then we have to write here active. Color is going to be blue. Save it, and you guys can see if we are right clicking on these particular links, if these links are active, then the color is changing to blue. That's working totally fine, I guess. So this is how we can change the color and all. Besides not only font color, we can change the text background as well for these particular links. So what we have to do is we have to mention the properties here, mention different properties here, like we have to mention background color instead of colors, because color properties used to change the font color only, right? So we can also mention text decoration. So what we can do is if any link is visited, we can make it underlined or anything sort of that. Now let's just check it with the help of background color property. Fine. So we are going to write here background color, and so just a minute, guys, we have to write here background color. Background color we have to write here, let's change the background color of any link to black. Save it, and here you can see the background color of both the links is black now. Fine. Although this is an unvisited link, but still the color is blue. because of the black color, I guess. Let me just check once if it's fine or not. Yeah, it's fine. Because of the black color, the color is changing to blue. So we are going to write here background color for these links on certain events. We are going to write here background color as blue. Okay, the second link is not visible with blue background, so I guess I have to change the background, and I'm going to change it from here. I'm going to make it this green. So yeah, here is the color, and we can change the background color to any. So let's just use some good color. We are going to use yellow. So here you can see these are the two links with yellow backgrounds, and what we can say, the link, if the link is unvisited, then its background should be yellow, and if the link is visited, then its background color. So we have to write here just background. Fine. So we will write over here background aqua. So this link is visited, right? The Google one is visited, but the YouTube one is not visited. Remember it. And we will do the same for hover as well. We have to write here background. This is the, now on hovering, the background color will change. So here you can see if I'm hovering my mouse cursor over these particular links, the background color is changing to coral. Similar thing for active link as well. So we'll write over here background color as blue. Save it. Right click on them, and here you can see the background color is blue, and this is working totally fine. Right, so I hope you guys are now aware of what CSS images and links can do to a website, how important they are in a website. And this is how we can use CSS to style images and links on a web page. I hope you guys enjoyed this session. So if you feel that we have missed out on some important topics that we were supposed to cover in this particular tutorial, then please feel free to drop them down in the comment section below, and we'll have your questions answered as soon as possible. Also, we'll consider every suggestion provided by you guys. So with that, this is Kaushal signing off until next time. Thank you.